Hello and welcome to System Check, where we check out those funky TTRPG systems and see if it's a fit for you and your group. And in this episode, we're tackling something I can only describe as a system made for weebs approaching and in their 30s. Today, we're checking out This World Summons Too Many Heroes. This World Summons Too Many Heroes is a game by Nick Duff and powered by the Lumen RPG system, which means it inherits mechanics from said system. To give a quick rundown on Lumen, the game only makes use of d6s, with the result of the d6 determining an action's outcome. A 1 to 2 on the die means the action fails and there's a consequence. A 3 to 4 on the die means the action succeeds, but there is a complication. And 5 to 6 on the die means the action succeeds and there are no complications. A complication or consequence will vary depending on the DM's discretion and what's happening at the time. For example, they may get an attempted strike back in combat, or when trying to break something, you might end up hurting yourself in the process. The characters have 3 stats that each can be used for rolling and have a dice pool equal to the number of points invested in that stat. So if one stat has a 3, you roll 3d6 and the highest number you roll is your result. This simple rolling makes everything run smooth and quickly. I stumbled onto this game recently and immediately knew I had to cover it. Just an absolutely whimsical game. And with its definitive edition now released, there's so much to play with. Since the title, much like some of the names of its anime inspirations, is such a mouthful, I'm going to be referring to it as Heroes from now on. Now, Heroes is a game heavily inspired by anime and its tropes throughout the years, especially the isekai or otherworld genre. All player characters are transported into the world by various means for various reasons via summon scrolls, a core part of the default setting. Before anything else, I point you to the player safety guide, short and sweet reminder that you should be very communicative with your players and make sure everyone's comfortable with the material you want to write. The game takes place in the world of Seria, 10 years after an apocalyptic event, in which they summon the hero Yu Yamamoto, who saved the world alongside his companions, and using his unique skill Spell Copy, created scrolls of this spell that would allow anyone to summon a new hero in a time of need. Naturally, as soon as he went off to be a hermit in the mountains, people abused the hell out of these scrolls, and they seem to be as big a threat to the world as the calamities who were meant to help stop. This gives our players a core goal: gather the scrolls and keep them out of the way of those who would abuse them. So let's talk about how we actually make our character, and this entire process is just a genuine delight. We start with choosing an archetype, which is an ability we get based on how our character was sent to this world, and we once again return to that wonderful anime inspiration for these. The bystander: you either met the sweet embrace of Truck-kun or happened to be standing next to the actual hero when they were being summoned. The demon lord: you were summoned by an evil group looking for a new dark lord to worship. The hero: brought to the world to save it, whether you want to or not is another story entirely, of course. The myth: someone reincarnated with some kind of legendary figure from the world, who naturally comes packed with their own agenda and will make it your problem. The noble: summoned to replace a missing member of the Serian aristocracy, coming with all the problems one can imagine. The reader: a wonderful meta one where it turns out Seria is the world of your favourite book or series, and now you're part of that world, with all the knowledge, of course. The reincarnated, where, well, not all summons go to plan, and sometimes you don't have your original body to use. Thankfully there's plenty spare, like this funky forklift. And the tragedy, because sure, you could simply be summoned, but what if you need that sweet, sweet edge? You are summoned by those seeking to exploit you, and they will hurt you as much as it takes to achieve their goals. So naturally, you want revenge. Or a kid, one or the other. Our next step is selecting our class, and with this being the definitive edition, there are lots of options. So I'm just going to do a quick rundown because they are all fantastic. We have Alchemist: you make the potions and make the booms. Assassin: stabby stabby. Beast: swooping is bad. Berserker: big whammy go hammy. Black Knight: we got that edge, baby. Blacksmith: the power of DIY. Blood Mage: anemia force go. Brawler: but what if I hit them really hard? Enchanter: enchantment. Healer: please listen to the white mage. Hunter: pew pew. Knight: you shall not pass. Living weapon: you are literally just Soul Eater. Mage: Exaflare. Monster: I'm a good slime, honest. Necromancer: I'm not doing the skeleton song. Phantasm: Aura Aura. Saber: you're already dead. Fell Sword: Fate Gilgamesh. Tamer: hey Digimon, hey Digimon. Monster friends here, the boys and girls. Vampire: you know, maybe that Dio guy had a point. We also have 4 special classes that can only be obtained as rewards given by the GM, which we'll talk about more later. Champion: we came for blood and we will have it. Magus: unlimited power. Sage: don't mess with Mother Nature. Servant: never underestimate the combat maids. Each class comes with 2 basic abilities you start with, then an additional starting ability depending on your highest stat. Which brings us to the third step of assigning our stats. We get 7 points to assign to the 3 stats as we like. and you can set these however you like. If you want to hyper focus on one thing, you can put all 7 in one if you really want, or go for a more balanced spread. These 3 stats are Might, your character's raw power, be it physical or magical, kind of your ability to overcome with raw power or presence. Mastery, your character's finer technique, your precision, dexterity, and ability to use your brain to get some good strategy in. And Mischief, your character's trickery and stealth skill, being able to mislead, hide, and cause chaos in the battlefield. And finally, we receive a gift. These are unique abilities separate from the rest of your kit, and they are incredibly varied. You only get the one, and it can't be lost or changed by any means. You can choose this, roll for it, or have the DM assign you one based on what they think would best suit your character, or whatever they think is funniest if they're a little rascal. And with that, you have your character, which by default has 8 HP and 6 SP, SP being our resource for using abilities. These can be restored in a variety of ways, one being having a short rest after combat. Character progression in this game is done via spending XP, which is earned by beating foes and rewarded by the DM for various achievements. These can be spent on unlocking the rest of the abilities from your class, and also upgrading them. There's 3 upgrades to choose from, but you can only apply one when you make the upgrade. You can, however, have multiple versions of each ability by upgrading the base ability again. There is a restriction that you can only have 3 class abilities equipped at one time, and you can swap these out at any time outside of combat. The ability from the gift is separate from the class abilities and does not count towards the total active number. I mentioned before that there were classes that could only be obtained as reward. All the other classes can be obtained via treaties, which are books purchasable at various stores. These let you obtain abilities from that class and earn XP for them whilst you have an ability from that class equipped. This means eventually you can mix and match your powers from multiple classes and create some busted characters. Weapons in this game fall into 4 categories: small melee, large melee, ranged, and tome, each with their own respective ranges and damage values. They are a pretty broad category by design, as it means they are easy to flavour as you like. Small melee, for example, can be anything that you would consider fits a description: daggers, gauntlets, short swords, sickles, you name it. Each category also has their own tags that can be applied to them. These are traits that can enhance a weapon in a variety of ways. You can get multiple slots for multiple tags on weapons, so you can slowly build some really nasty weapons to throw at foes. The spellcasting in this game is typically tied to the tome weapons, as all their tags are various spells, each coming with an active spell and a ritual spell. The active abilities will proc when used as a typical attack, but the ritual casts require making some checks to be able to pull them off, but for a far greater effect. So how does combat work in this? This game inherits Lumen's base gameplay loop for combat and builds upon it. They also made this wonderful little flowchart to help visualize this. To explain, we start with the player turn, in which the players decide the order they make their moves. During their turn, they can move and either attack or use one of their stats to attempt an action of their own invention. After the player's turn, it's the enemy's turn, in which as a collective, they get 3 actions to use against the players. Following that, for each enemy defeated, the DM rolls for drops, giving players either HP, SP, or materia, the currency of the world. These drops can then be used and divided up amongst the players as needed, or a sneaky blood mage might yoink them all with one of their less heroic abilities. There's then a chance for battle changes, reinforcements, changes in the battlefield, and so on. And then the new round starts and we do the cycle once more till one side is beaten. You may have noticed in the corner there's a box separate from the rest of the flowchart, and that's because your class abilities can be used at any time, at the cost of your SP, providing a layer of tactics of when to save or fire off your skills. Range in Lumen games is what I like to call semi-abstract. It's broken into bands of near, close, and far, which can be done completely in the theatre of the mind, or you can create visuals that divide up a map into these ranges, depending on what you prefer. GM tools are pretty useful for helping you run and create extra friends and foes for your players, and a good range of locations, plot hooks, and plenty of inspiration. The definitive edition also includes the other books that they released, providing even more to throw at your players. I also want to give special love to the example hero Megan the Finder for being canonically trans, and we love to see it. Alright, conclusion time. I really believe that using Lumen as its base was the right call for this game. It's simple to play and build upon, and makes it really easy to play the anime power fantasy of your dreams. This game lets you come up with some incredible characters, like one of my players is a sentient bloody forklift, and another is a stand user being followed around by 3 kobolds in a trench coat. Heroes is a game that lets you go nuts and feel powerful. It lets you be silly and whimsical with all the anime tropes we love and enjoy. But that simplicity isn't going to be for everyone, and the anime nonsense isn't going to be everyone's cup of tea. I feel the book itself could have also benefited from some artwork of some of the monsters. The description and lore behind them are fantastic, but having some visuals would have been a nice touch. Overall, these are pretty minor gripes, and don't at all affect the absolute joy this game brought us, and we'll absolutely be playing more as a group. So what do you think of Heroes? Think it's something for you? And if you have played it, let me know down below, I'd love to hear about it. And if you have any other systems you'd like me to check out, be sure to let me know. As mentioned last time, I also now have a Ko-fi for posting blog versions of all my videos, alongside some bonus guides for the systems I cover. You can find links to that and where to pick up the game from in the description below. And as a reflection on this review that I'm adding after it's way too late to change release order and make a different video first, I decided that before covering any games built upon open source TTRPGs, I'll make a video on the source first so I won't end up repeating the same mechanics between videos. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like, and if you want to see more, feel free to subscribe. With all that said, I've been Deval, and I'll see you next time. Happy adventuring!